But there's a thing called the day movement course.
Okay.
The day movement course is like the obstacle course where you're walking around. I don't want to say obstacle course. It's kind of just like low. Just picture like crawling in the mud a lot, and it
Oh,
was
sounds
mud,
terrible.
but it was like thick mud because it was just like raining. So it gets like in everywhere, and you have to like carry it with you because like it sticks in like you're wearing like a little belt
Yeah.
with all your ammo pouches and stuff. So that all fills up with mud. And I'm gonna just like run through the course real quick so everyone can understand. So like there's
Yeah.
like a little pipe, like a little drain, like a storm pipe where you could like walk through like
Mhm.
crouched. And you're supposed to like you're like pretending like you're clearing it for like IEDs and stuff. Yeah. So you're like in the pipe, you like put your hand around and you're like, okay, clear. And you walk up and there's like a little low wall. You have to like look over the wall without like looking over the wall in case like someone's behind you with a gun. So you like do that, and you're like
Yeah.
clear. You step over the wall, and there's a big wall, and you and a buddy like put your back on the wall and like put your hand on the wall and make sure there's no booby traps on top of the wall, do all that stuff. And then once you clear the wall, you have to walk through barbed wire. Um,
Like
yeah,
walk through barbed wire.
where you have to, like like step through, make sure you're not cutting it. It's like a little grid. It's not like a
Okay,
pile
gotcha.
of
Yeah.
barbed wire like
Okay.
you see in video
I
games
didn't
and
know.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's kind of hard to describe. And then you go do that another wall thing, a high wall, and you walk over that, and then you're in mud. You're in mud, and they're like, "Get on your face," And so you're like on your face, and you start like crawling, like you have like you're on your like elbows and knees with your hips down, of course, because if your hips are down, they're gonna make you. If your hips are not down, they're gonna make you go back and start again. I don't want to go back and start again. That
So
sucks,
your hips are down.
Yeah, hips are down, and you have like your rifle across your arms like this, and you're just like doing this through like some thick old mud, and you go up, you like crouch down, you do another high wall, and then you clear that, and then get on your face again, and like this time you're like even lower crawling. So like you have your whole like body on the down, and you have like you're grabbing your rifle by like the sling, like facing this way, and you're
Yeah.
like it's called sweep sweep pull, Shannon. I will never forget this, right? So you're holding your rifle, and you like have like a like your not bulletproof, but like your Kevlar helmet,
Yeah.
right? And you like sweep to the left, sweep to the right, and you go back forward and pull your whole body,
With one arm.
mud, with one arm through
the mud.
through the mud, right? Not fun, Shannon,
No.
But
I'm out.
and it's a little farther than you think. You do it like 100 times, and you're not supposed to look up because like you're like they're acting like there's bullets flying past your head and stuff.
Yeah.
And but like you sneak a little peek, you're like, how much farther you have to go? And, like you do it like 100 times, like you're feeling like you're gonna die or stuff. You look up and you're like, oh, cool, I'm like a quarter of the way there. Like
Yeah, I mean, you can't be making a lot of ground, like just pulling your body up like that. It's like,
yo, you make it no ground.
yeah, you're like a foot tops.
Oh my gosh, it's so horrible. And like, and then after that, like you get to the edge and you do a thing called buddy rushing. After that, buddy rushing is like you do the whole course with a fire team. A fire team is just 4 people.
Mm-hmm.
And buddy rushing is like you lay on the ground and like they're pretending there's an enemy ahead of you, right? And you're trying to rush towards the enemy, but you can't just stand up and just run and gun. You have to do it tactically. So buddy rushing is 2 people get up while the other 2 are suppressing fire. They get up, they scream a little ditty, or they scream, "I'm up! They see me! I'm down!" You drop down to the ground, and then you're doing that, and then they start shooting, and then the other 2 break that. So it's a very quick process of like people getting up and getting down in like sections, right? It like sounds easy, but it's not. Like,
It doesn't sound easy. You're good.
It doesn't sound easy. Yeah. So you have to do that, right? And then you run to the edge, and then that's the end of the course.
Yeah.
And what they told us before the course, he's like, hey, if you do it right, and they always said, you get out what you put in, and then if you do it right, we won't make you do it again. I took that to heart. I was like, we're going to freaking do this. I believed him. And like, the thing is, I think I would have got away with only doing it once, if I wasn't overly sarcastic.
Oh no! Well, how can you be doing such a task and be sarcastic at the same time?
Okay, so all right, we went through the pipe stuff. We crossed the barbed wire. We cleared the wall, the whole thing. And I'm screaming like the whole time, like we're like an actual war. So I'm like, like I'm having fun with it too. And I'm like screaming like, and we do all that stuff. and then we get to the mud part, right? And like, I'm in the war zone mindset, like we're in
Right.
war, right? But I'm having fun. I'm trying to have my fun too. So I'm putting like 110% sarcastic energy into this freaking movement course, right? And so like, after you clear the wall, you get down in the mud, right?
Yeah.
I thought it'd be way faster if I just, dove into the mud, just like off the wall. So I like dove into the mud, and like there's not drill instructors there. There's like combat instructors there. Like there's always like instructor for like whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
There's like shooting instructors and like swim instructors for all that stuff, right? But there were combat instructors for BWT. They were pointing it out. They were pointing me like, oh snap! And then my kill hat, he's like, now we're training. Like I see you go like now we're training. We're doing this, and I have my fire team, and like you're supposed to stay with your fire team the whole time. So I was like,
yeah,
come on, let's go. Like we're doing it. We're like high crawling through the mud, right? And then they were like, hey kid, like, where are you from, right? I was like, oh, no. And they're like, oh, he's a military brat, right? Like, what's your dad? Like, is it your dad? I was like, yes, sir. And they're like, who, is he retired? I'm like, no, he's active duty, sir. He's like, what rank is he? He's like, Master Sergeant. And they're like, oh, he's Master Sergeant kid, right? You know what? I think I have to see that one more time, So they sent me back, not just me and my fire team, right? And then the whole thing is like, I didn't want to feel defeated. I didn't want them to win.
Right. So you did the whole thing again?
With 110% sarcastic energy. So
that is fantastic.
Like, it's just one more time, It's just one more time. I'll just do it. Right. And they're like, you know what? You're a master sergeant, so you could probably do it pretty fast, right? So I'm doing a high crawl, right? And they're counting me down. They're like, you have 60 seconds to get over here, right? I'm like, I think that's possible, right? So it's in the mud. I'm just like, pop, 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 pop. And like, I'm just like flying up there, and I'm like starting to feel it, but I can't let them win. Mm-hmm. I gotta make sure that I will get out on top of this.
This is just like you're balancing. You can't let them win, and also I gotta have my fun. It's just a really hard thing to balance. I really appreciate you trying to take it on.
And on top of all that, I'm putting my body in like the absolute limit.
Right,
you're pulling like 60 pounds of mud.
You're like it's just you going through this. Like they're just standing there watching, but you have to have your fun because you're trying to make the most out of it. Okay.
Oh yeah. And then the thing is with the low crawl, you have to stay aligned with your fire team, right?
Yeah.
I forgot about this minor detail, right? So I'm like, bah, 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 like low crawling and stuff. And I get to the wall, and they're like, where's your fire team, Glover? And I look around, I'm like, they're back there, sir. And they're like, are you supposed to be back there? And I was like, no, sir. And they're like, all right, tight. All of you get back up and go do it again. And I'm like, okay, all right. This is, And then I'm like, I can't let them win. So I get to the end, and I dive back into the mud, And then my fire team started looking at me, and they're like, relax, like.
Yeah, at this point, like they're starting to get a little bit like
they're starting to get annoyed. They're getting annoyed. Anyway, I didn't stop. I did that low crawl thing, like maybe 10 times. Still with all the energy, At one point, they were counting all of us down, and we didn't make that time because I have to stay aligned with my fire team. Mm-hmm. And instead of like waiting for them to say, all right, you didn't make it, like get up and go back. When they hit 0, I just immediately got up and started walking back, right? But apparently they were going to let us go. They were going to let us move on to the different thing. But since I stood up and walked back, they're like, tight. He wants to do it again. Go ahead and go back. And everyone's like, what the fuck? I was like, I'm trying not to laugh, but I'm starting laughing. And all the combatants just see me laughing. And they're like, oh, okay, Joker. Like we have a Joker over here. And I'm like, oh. I have a nickname. That's not good, And then we do it one last time. I'm like dying in the body, right? I can't show it, I can't let them win.
Can't let them win. And
then we do the low crawl, the sweep pull,
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I just wish I just shut up. I wish I would. It was fun, but like, right, it killed me. I did that like maybe 6 or 7 times, pulling my happy ass through that mud. They're all making fun of me. They're like, "Oh, you took an extra pull, Joker. Get your whole fire team and get back up." I'm like, all right, man. And we did that, and then we did buddy rushing, but we did the buddy rushing like a couple times. Everyone went through like beside us. We were like the only ones like doing it over and over and over again. I mean, there's a couple of people out there, but like we got the brunt of it. You know, because my whole point is if I do it
Because of
seriously,
your
I'm
Joker
only do
ass,
it once. Yeah, if I do it seriously, I'm only gonna do it once. I did it like probably more than anyone else. But yeah, that was it. And like I couldn't let him just like show that I was defeated, so I'm like hitting my tall, and then there's like a little walkway out, and there's like a little path through the tree that gets to the main road, right? I like walk out in that little path, and I was just like, I like collapsed, dude. I was like, I'm like dead. There's just like my body like can't move right now, and I was like, frick, I had to get up, you know, go do the freaking next thing. And then we just sat there, we ate dinner chow, and they're like, okay, cool. That movement course you guys just did, we're gonna go do it a couple more times at night now. Like, oh,
they took you back out
at night. It was really cool because they were like shooting flares out, and it was like bright, and when they would scream flare, and you have to stop moving, like freeze in the mud. Right, we did it one full time. I was being a little sarcastic, but a little less because I think I learned my lesson. And then we finished. We walked out that tree line again, and they're like, "You guys did it?" We're like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Cool. Go back to the front of the line." You know, everyone had to do it twice. You know, it was rough. But I loved every moment of it. I just didn't learn.
That's so cool, though, that like you were able to somehow make the most of that. Something that would be like hell for any normal person. But I'm sure it still was in some ways for you. But that's pretty cool, though.
Oh, one more thing I forgot about. Sorry.
No, you don't have to apologize. This is what it's all about.
I know. While you're doing the course, if you stood up or it took a little like extra time getting over the wall, they're like, you got shot. You're a casualty now. You know, and one of your 3 buddies in your fire team, they have to carry you now while doing that whole course.
Oh,
right. But I was the casualty, you know. So my fire team was already not very happy with me. And then they had to drag me through.
You get a break now, though, right?
I get a break, you know. And so they put me on their back, and they're just low crawling through the mud. They were supposed to drag me, but how can you drag me through mud? Like there's just like a wall. Like I'm on my back holding my rifle. And they're dragging me, but they're literally just dragging like a wall of mud in front of my shoulders. And they're like, you know, screw it. So they like put me on their back. I'm like laying on their back, and he's just crawling. And I'm like, dude, I'm sorry. I'm trying to help him. But like the dude's back I'm on is, as mentioned before, Antanasio, right? He's having just as much fun as I am. And he's like super like combat mindset. You know, he wants to push himself. That's why he gets like 300 perfect scores in CFT. I started helping. I'm trying to help him. Like I'm like pushing my feet, like just a little bit, like propelling through. And he's like, "Don't fucking help me." I'm like, "I got this." I'm like, "All right, bro." So I took a nap on his back.
You just sit there dead weight.
Yeah, dead weight. Whatever. And now he always like brings that up to me, you know, like every time we try to do something or every time we're talking like trash talking, he's like, "Whatever, dude. I literally carried you."
Literally carried you. Like
yeah,
you carried to a whole new definition.
He's like, "I literally put you on my back." And, you know, he always says that. I'm like, "All right, you win that one.